Toothy. I mean, that guy is Blake Walley, and my name is Brian Engelman. Thank you for joining us on the Agree to Disagree show on the new American media, because the old American media has failed you. We're going to jump right into today's show because time is of the essence. You're going to get the fastest 40 minutes in news today. Follow Blake on Twitter, X. He's at TV's Blake Walley, and check him out at his site, thenextlevelnews.com, and check out the Agree to Disagree show and the new American media in all of the places. Okay, Blake, this was the number one story over the weekend. Just huge news.
I don't know about the number one story over the weekend.
Easily. Name something bigger than this. The first libertarian president elected.
Being released. You don't think that's the biggest story over the weekend? That was the Friday news dump.
The J6. Well, we'll get into that second. But
it's an international, maybe the biggest international story, maybe. But then you still got Israel. I don't know, but whatever. Yeah. It's all good. It's a fair story. It's a big story.
So tell me then, are we overblowing this? Does the election of Javier Milei signal the end of globalism, Blake? Agree or disagree?
It's a good step in the right direction. I'll just say I agree, but it's a little bit might be a little too much. But it's a big development because Argentina was one of the richest countries in the world, and then it embraced socialism for decades. And they went into poverty. They destroyed the country, and now they've got a populist back, and somebody who likes Trump. It resonates with the people. They're tired of the woke BS, and he's been very outspoken. It's a very interesting character, and so that is going to be the death of socialism in Argentina, at least for the time being, and then. As you see more of these populist candidates rise, it will be the end of globalism. But a big step. And it's against the BRICS. I think they were going to join BRICS, and maybe they won't now. And I think he's even talking about Javier, about having Bitcoin as legal tender in Argentina as well. So they could be back to the road of riches again in Argentina. So good for them.
Yeah, protect this man at all costs. A lot of these videos, it's a little tricky because they're in Spanish. I don't know if you had any articles pulled up, any of his comments or commentary, some of the things he stands for, some of the things he is representing. I mean, it's just been incredible watching some of the highlight reels from the past several days since the election. I mean, he's saying 80%, 90% of the right stuff. Just so anti-communist, just exactly what's needed is a breath of fresh air, because it really is violence. Communism is extreme violence, and this guy gets it. He just lets it rip. Yes, he had a chainsaw in one thing. Yes, he's running around in another. It's like, oh no, he has some energy. Whoa, no, the guy's a lunatic. I mean, he's a little wacky, but it's hard not to like the guy if you're for freedom and liberty. So I don't know. What do you have for us? What can you tell us about this guy? Who is this guy?
I'll have a few things. His name is Javier Milei as its new president. This is the day after this is out of the Gateway Pundit, and he's vowing that the rebuilding of Argentina begins today. Calls for Trump in 2024. So anti-socialists all over the world woke up a bit happier today after the Argentina elected a right-wing libertarian as its new president. Mainstream media still stupefied as now voters in the country chose an outsider with radical views to fix their battered economy. But it should not surprise anyone that they would reject Sergio Massa, the other economy minister responsible for the triple-digit inflation and rising poverty that has engulfed 40% of the country. So
triple-digit inflation. I love how they call common sense policies to be radical. Like, whoever writes this stuff is just. And I know you pulled this from wherever you pulled it from. That wasn't Gateway Pundit. Where'd you get that?
Yeah, this is Gateway Pundit.
Okay. Yeah, I just. That's what they call it. They call it radical to be like, yeah, you need to be smart with your money. You can't overextend yourself. Like inflation bad. Oh, this guy's a radical. We got to shut him down. It's so crazy.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, the way that they twist stuff, the regime media, but the the population wasn't buying it, and he won any landslide, 56% to 44. That's a big victory. And I guess unlike us, they didn't find boxes of ballots and vans driving into the middle of the centers in the middle of the night and shutting down the voting and picking it up the next day and finding big drops and all kinds of other shenanigans. So good to see a healthy democracy there, huh? Well, good for them. Good for Argentina. Let's see what else. There's some other good news on that. Argentinian stocks and bonds shoot up after Milei's landslide presidential victory. It should be.
Now, that's not the Malays. That's not the Malays that Jimmy Carter ushered in. By the way, rest in peace to his wife, who passed away a couple days ago as well. But yes, Jimmy Carter ushered in the Great Malaise, as they call it. So this Malaise is different than the Malays. Probably spelled different, I believe. Like John Coffey, only not spelt the same.
Definitely. I think it's a French word. This is Spanish, but it's all good. We gotcha. We got another one. Libertarian outsider Javier Milei wins Argentinian election. The libertarian, yes, the anarcho-capitalist. He says he wants to convert to Judaism from Catholicism and is a rabbi as his spiritual guide. So some people are kind of a little skeptical because of his foreign policy. And the first thing he wants to do is go visit Israel right now, which is a contentious area around the world. But yes, it's still refreshing to see a libertarian and an anarcho-capitalist and a pro-Trump supporter being elected, and a populist. So good stuff. It's a great video, probably showing a lot of the highlights that you wanted to see, Brian. I don't know how much time we have to get into this, but Paul Joseph Watson did put out a very good compilation with his commentary as based, yes, the Argentinian Trump.
All right, calm down, mate. Not as if you just completed a stunning upset all the odds comeback to win a national election, is it? Wait, he did.
Javier Milei has promised a new dawn.
Almost 40 years of leftist rule finally abolished. Having lost the first round of voting, Javier Milei roared back to beat his opponent by more than 10%, completely confounding all the polls that said he would lose, leaving his rival supporters blubbering like Hillary Clinton voters in 2016.
Político, social y económico.
The media calls him a far-right outsider, yet Javier Milei calls himself a libertarian anarcho-capitalist. Those two things are quite distinctly not the same. Everyone calls him El Loco, the madman. Can't quite fathom why. His dead dog told him to run for president. The so-called Argentinian Trump has vowed to make Argentina great again. Base! And just like Trump, he's a TV celebrity turned political campaigner. So who is Javier Milei and what does he actually believe in? Well, he's not shy about telling you.
Al zurdo de mierda no le podés dar ni un milímetro.
Pero ¿me podés definir zurdo de mierda que no
Todos
lo
los que,
entiendo?
digamos, los colectivistas.
Yes, leftards, shitlibs in Espanol, but we get
You
it.
can't give them an inch.
Yep, going after all the collectivists.
Los que ponen, digamos, o sea, esa idea. A ver,
¿Por qué le pones de mierda, digamos?
porque son una mierda.
Yes, mierda is shit in Espanol, so he's saying that on TV.
O
Pero vos mezclás-
no,
pero
pero,
eso-
es que
eso
si
es
pensás,
pero no, pero digo,
pero
eso
si
es
pensás distinto te
descalificador.
van a aniquilar. Ese es el punto. Es decir, vos al zurdo no le podés dar un milímetro, porque le das un milímetro y lo toma para destrozarte.
Base.
¡Zurdos, hijos de puta, tiemblen! ¡La libertad avanza! ¡Viva la libertad, carajo!
Base.
Ministerio de Cultura, afuera.
Can you decipher some of this, Blake?
What's that?
Can you decipher some of the Spanish?
Yeah, I mean, he's basically saying, yes, you can't give the leftists an inch, and then he's going over all of the bloated government cabinets and talking about how he's going to get rid of them, like we kind of want to do here. Probably cut the size and scope of government down by 50% or more and get rid of all these useful bureaucratic buildings. So he's talking about getting rid of the Ministry of Environment and Sustainable Development,
Ministerio de Ambiente y Desarrollo Sostenible, afuera.
Education,
Ministerio de las
gone.
Mujeres y
Ministry
Género
of
y
Women,
Diversidad,
Genders and
afuera.
Diversity, gone.
Ministerio de Obras Públicas,
Public Works, it's
afuera.
all a big waste of this is where all the taxpayer money goes to fund this bloated government.
Aunque te resistas.
Base.
Ministerio de Educación,
Ministry of Education,
Lineamientos,
gone.
afuera. Se acabó el curro de la política. ¡Viva la libertad, carajo!
Long live liberty.
Zurdos, hijo de puta, ahí tienen. Las pelotas voy a pedir Estado.
Base.
¿Sabes qué es? La bandera anarcocapitalista. ¿Sí? La bandera de los liberales libertarios. Negro tiene que ver con la anarquía.
Base. Cringe.
Libertario. La anarquía.
Cringe.
Es decir, esta es una sociedad que está infectada de socialismo. Y lo que hay que lograr es sacar el socialismo de la cabeza de la gente.
Base.
Basically, getting rid of socialism and yes, all the leftist, all the woke garbage. So a lot of things that we want to see here, and a lot of reasons why we wanted to get rid of the Obama regime and get Trump back in, is to make America great again and get rid of all the social justice warrior garbage. So good stuff.
A society infested with socialism. Yeah, socialism, communism. You don't give the shit libs an inch. But he's so right to call it out as violent as it is, because it always devolves into extreme violence, and it's destructive. Trump says everything woke turns to shit. There's 100 different ways to say the same story, but it's anything communist, Marxist, socialist. It's all trash, and it's very appealing to the takers. It's all appealing to the takers. Nope, no bowl, Timothy. I have a cup though. I have a mug. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us. Yes, people are slowly finding us here. It's been difficult today. I noticed, Blake, we are streaming on YouTube now, but it's not streaming in the Agree to Disagree Facebook group. So I had to share the YouTube link in the Facebook group, because screw Facebook. It's just a never-ending battle, dude. Trying to get our show out there. It is so shadow banned. You would think that we're on the level of a Paul Joseph Watson or Alex Jones or Crowder. Name any of the Tim Pool. These people rise.
Inspire Paul Joseph Watson to do this stuff. I think I was actually used as leverage to encourage Paul Joseph Watson to start doing these vlogs, as we call them, because I had one published on InfoWars a couple of weeks before he started doing his. And then Alex Jones would brag on air about how he was threatening Paul, that he was going to fire him unless he started doing vlogs. So, yeah, I'll take that as a true story, unless PJW or Alex wants to step up and say no. And I'm not.
We should get PJW on the show. Right. We should get him on the show. I've never talked to PJW. By the way, did you see the Alex Jones game that I sent you on Telegram yesterday? Did you happen to see it?
I know. I think Mike showed it to us on Friday night. The Power Trio. Oh. I thought it was just a joke. I didn't know it was an actual game.
Oh, so no, it's incredible.
It looks like Contra. Is it like Contra from Nintendo?
Yeah, sort of. And you're running through San Francisco, and you got these bums, these junkies throwing hypodermic needles and shit on you. You have the rainbow frogs. It's just it's an incredible game. I played the first 2 levels. I got zucked. I got zucked right there on the second level. I was right on the edge of being able to beat him. But
nice.
What is Jocelyn saying? She says, proof again that when there's a free and fair election, it bolsters the economy. Argentinian stocks are way up. Yes. And by the way, 45 million people, they had all paper ballots counted in one day. It's not rocket science. Every single one of the United States is under 45 million people. California's 39. Texas is 30. Ohio's 20, or Florida's 22. The 3 highest, they're all under 45 million. You can easily count paper ballots. And if you saw, I don't think we even put the Georgia story in the stack, but an Obama appointed judge in Georgia has now ruled that there are substantive problems with machine voting. And so that is now all thrown into chaos, that they might not even use that. Over in Arizona, they're threatening to sue or arrest people if they try to hand count. It feels like the jig is up. it seems like if you just count paper ballots, the people are going to win in a landslide. If you allow mail-ins and drop boxes and no signature verification and machines that you can't actually audit, and they say our source code is it's proprietary. Well, then piss off. If we can't audit it, it doesn't count. So, I mean, you're starting to see it across the country, and a judge now has just vindicated Mike Lindell. So I think that's pretty incredible. Jocelyn says, I love a political candidate who shows up at a rally with a running chainsaw. I saw one today where he was in a Volkswagen driving through traffic on his way to the State House, I guess. And he got stuck in traffic. So he got out of the car and was high-fiving and giving kids handshakes in a bus next to him. I don't know. This guy's wacky, but I kind of like him a lot already. It's just, this is a little win that's a real big deal. This feels very important, Blake. It feels very important to me. So anyway.
Yeah, definitely. And with the story you mentioned, I didn't have it really in the stack, but just kind of a part of what we're talking about. Yes, a federal judge appointed by Obama just ruled against voting machines in Georgia. So that's a big deal. An Obama appointee ruling against voting machines, saying the machine's cybersecurity flaws violate the constitutional rights of voters. Absolutely. So that's good. And I hope, yes, Mike Lindell is vindicated. He has gone through the ringer, and he's a good man. He's got good products, and I hope that he gets his redemption. He deserves it.
We don't have a promo code, but I would suggest that this might be a wonderful day for you to go out there and participate. Go get something for Christmas, would you? So that's my hunch. No promo code. You can use the POSO one if you want, but yeah. Guess who was right this whole damn time? Guess who was right about everything the whole damn time? I don't know. It was the people that were censored and silenced, the people that were shadow banned, the people that were demonetized, that were deranked. Shocking, fucking shocking. I am so surprised, Blake. We were right. Tell me what we've been wrong about on the major issues in the past 15 years. I mean, where were we completely out of line?
There's not a whole lot. Yeah, there really isn't. If we went back, I mean, I'm sure there's a few. I mean, I would say that I'm probably right, 90, maybe even 95% of the time. That doesn't mean take it to the bank, because I will probably, you never know when you're going to be wrong. But without getting, buried in the weeds on things, not a whole lot, and just stuff that's not even worth arguing over anyway. Or maybe being wrong on, the Pelosi story with the hammer attack, because we didn't know what was going on, or maybe I didn't think Putin was going to invade Ukraine, but then it became more apparent. So I was wrong. There's a few things, like 95% of the time, but we're way ahead of the mainstream media. And there are so many bombshells, so many of the major of the most important stories that we have gotten right that they got wrong. Now they're backtracking on Ukraine. And there's a whole list. And the way that they smeared Trump, and the J6 thing just blew up in their face this weekend. I thought that was, obviously the biggest story, is that they're going to have to change the narrative on that one. That was huge. And there's so many things that we took a lot of shit for, or just for, big pharma. Maybe let's not rush to on the experimental jabs. And a lot of people didn't want to, were pressured into that. Or the masks, or any that we were vindicated on. So many, the biggest stories we've been vindicated on.
And there's a lot of stories that we haven't been able to put the final pieces of information out yet.
Yeah,
but we're still on the right path, while we've been slapped with labels as if we're wrong. And it's not just that they're not mainstream media, they're lying legacy media, and they're dying, thankfully, but they're not wrong. They're intentionally deceptive. They know that it's incorrect. If you're wrong, you report on something, you go, I thought it was something, and it turns out I had information that wasn't quite what I thought it was, and you correct yourself. They're not wrong. They're intentionally deceptive. It's a big difference. But okay, right. Yes, because our time is limited today, do we have anything else on Milei before we bounce to the next show topic?
No, I think I've hit them all.
Perfect. Next. Our show tech is a little glitchy today. Thanks for bearing with us here on the Agree to Disagree show on the New American Media. Subscribe on Rumble The New American Media, and subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, the Agree to Disagree show. Blake, agree or disagree that Elon Musk should sue Media Matters outlet into oblivion?
Absolutely. They deserve to go. And they've been some of the
Yes.
people that have been pushing some of the worst propaganda
worst.
over the years. And they've been absolutely targeting their political opposition. Who knows? I don't know if we've been on their radar, probably at some point. We're small enough to ignore. But I know I have absolutely trolled the hell out of some of those Media Matters hacks over the years. So I'm sure I have riled a few of them up. But they do target a lot of people, and they have gone over after basically the who's who of conservative media, and they go after and try to ruin everybody's advertising sponsors.
Pause right there. By the way, go to cdc.gov or cdc.gov/vaccine if you want countervailing views to Blake talking about a mask. Okay, please continue.
Have they backtracked? They don't have to push that anymore, right? They say that the masks were ineffective.
Who the shit knows, man?
But at the beginning, it was like seems weird, and then like you aren't allowed to question the science. But anyway, that was an old story.
I am the science.
It was one of those things. Like, how many times have we been censored, shadow banned for things that turned out that we were vindicated? We were actually right the entire time.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
It's sick, but yeah. And then of course, yeah, the legacy media who just get to read the scripts, get paid the big bucks, and push the narrative and not make waves, and they get all the credit. But their day is coming when things are going to flip around on them. We shall see, and they're going to have to pay for all of the, or they have to be held accountable for all of the lies that they pushed on the American public and the world public. But anyway, yes. So big news, Media Matters. They finally pushed too far, and they actually manufactured a bunch of false evidence against Elon Musk and the X Twitter platform. Of course, leftists are freaking out because they can't control all the information now that Elon owns it, and it's a fair platform, and they're doing community notes and what have you. So they decided to. They've been targeting advertisers. A lot of it's sneaky stuff behind the scenes. Whether it's ADL or Media Matters, Southern Poverty Law Center, there's a lot of these outlets that if they can't beat you, they will just try to target your advertisers, ruin your life, lawfare, and yes. So Elon fighting back against these monsters. So let's pull up a story here. Got a few of them. We've got
Oh, and by the way, while you pull this up, there's also Truth Social is now suing 20 of these companies that have been putting stuff out too. I'm not sure if
I do have it.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're gonna dovetail that right in there.
Perfect.
Okay. Very good. Yes. Because that is a big story as well. And it's time. And
they can't They can't only put out the fake CIA propaganda anymore. There is actual competition in the marketplace. I went to journalism school. I thought we're supposed to give the who, what, where, when, why, how. That's what we're trying to do. They're trying to manipulate the truth and feed you bullshit, feed you lies, feed you propaganda, feed you things that are going to harm you. We think that's evil. So, it's nice to see X and Truth as viable options for the other shit-lib companies that are doing what they're doing. To borrow the turn of phrase from Javier Milei right there. It's just the phrase is so funny because it sums up so much of this wrong think attitude that's so pervasive and toxic.
Yeah, absolutely. So it should just be a fair platform where we should just embrace truth no matter what, not be pushing narratives to try to twist things. So we've got X suing Media Matters after report accuses Musk's platform of promoting Nazism. And we're going to have a big Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton said the office will investigate for potential fraudulent activity. Yeah, they went out of their way to make it so it give the appearance that X was give the appearance that X was pushing some sort of ads with their Nazis or what have you. It's really disingenuous and terrible, and it's a smear campaign since they're angry. Yeah, they're a supposed watchdog group, but they're not. They're anything but. And this is George Soros. This is David Brock. These are political activists. So global brands such as IBM, Comcast, and others began to pull advertising from X after a Media Matters reported published on November 16th claimed that ads for major brands appeared next to posts touting Nazism on the platform. So then they manipulated the information to make it look like they were putting this awful stuff out next to awful people, or putting there's ads from these companies next to Nazis. So they pulled out. I mean, it's sick the way that they would do this. This is warfare. Over the weekend, Elon Musk, owner of X, threatened to file a thermonuclear lawsuit against Media Matters and all of those who colluded in the fraudulent attack against the company. On November 20th, Twitter CEO Linda Yaccarino said that not a single authentic user on X saw IBM, Comcast, or Oracle ads next to the content that Media Matters reported. So only 2 users saw Apple's ad next to the content, at least one of which was Media Matters. I guess they were like creating fake accounts and I don't know.
It's right out of the Hillary Clinton playbook, trying to pretend Trump is a Russian asset and he's controlled because of a P-tape that she went with Fusion GPS so that they could get a fake FISA warrant with Obama. That's right out of the playbook of these Democrats. They do every dirty trick you could imagine under the book. They're like Jim Harbaugh. Everything they do is like that guy from that team up north who we don't say. By the way, it's the week. Go Ohio State. They're just as dirty as Jim Harbaugh. They will cheat any single way possible.
Yeah, and it's so much different than when I used to know them back in the day. And it seemed like it was always easy to engage with conservatives, social conservatives or warmongers. But now they're so dirty. Yes, they have these covert ways of attacking you from behind the scenes now. So now that they don't control the narrative. So the Media Matters article is sharing screenshots, reported that its researchers supposedly found ads for Apple, Bravo, Oracle, Xfinity, and IBM next to posts that tout Hitler and his Nazi party. But an executive previously told that the platform isn't intentionally placing a brand actively next to that type of content, nor is a brand actively trying to support this type of content with ad placement. So in this
Jocelyn
case,
adds here in the comment section, she says, we all know Democrats are the ones promoting Nazism. What's unclear is if Jewish Americans will finally wake up and stop voting for the people who despise them. Look, even Cardi B's calling out Joe Biden and the Democrats right now. So anything's possible. I'll get to that later. But yeah, anything's possible. If you can't see it at this point, you're hopeless or completely clueless or a paid hack. I don't know what else to say. There is no reason to vote that side, in my opinion.
No, they are bad. They have really gotten radicalized through the Obama years, and it's even worse now under Biden, and it's got to stop. And yes, it's all funded by George Soros and many radicals and the globalists and all kinds of stuff. So let's pull up. Let's see, what else do we have? Attorney General Ken Paxton, yes, he's launching the investigation. So they're manipulating the public and advertisers. Media Matters created an alternate account and curated the posts and advertising appearing on the account's timeline deliberately to misinform advertisers about the placement of their posts. And once they curated their feed, they repeatedly refreshed their timelines to find a rare instance of ads serving next to content they chose to follow. So yes, they're making fake accounts, like radical accounts.
Then they followed goofballs, and then they followed goofballs. Then they kept refreshing enough time so that they could say, hey, look, it's next to something a goofball said. It's like, well, yeah, the feed shows you what you want to see in the feed. That's not because of the advertiser. That's because of the person who chose to follow the goofball. It's so stupid. But we need to start making lists of all of these companies so that we can make sure that we divest. It's easy for Bud Light. It's easy for Target. It's easy for a couple of the companies. But all the ones that are going along with this, right after Xi shows up, when Gavin Newsom cleans the streets for Xi, but not for thee, they all of a sudden do this. The next day they come out and said, we're going to stop advertising on the Twitter platform because their real boss told them to. Xi of China. Give me a break. Lionsgate, Apple, whoever the ones that are doing this, we need to make this list, and we have to start divesting our our spending habits from these companies that hate you. They hate you. They hate freedom of speech and they hate truth. So we need to starve them of their dollars. That's how you win. It's been proven with Bud Light. It's been proven with Target. You just watch what's going to happen with Target. Target's at the edge. They're closing store. I mean, it's happening. But we need this list to be everywhere. I don't know how we do it, but we need to make sure the people that are attacking free speech on X, they're starved of their revenue too.
Yeah, it's gonna have to flip the script. But they did it to themselves. So they've been doing this sneaky stuff behind the scenes and manipulating public information. And yes, it's time to flip the tables on them. It's going to be interesting. There is a Trump-appointed judge to preside over Elon Musk's high-profile lawsuit against far-left Media Matters. So that's good. He's also been involved with some other causes and other rulings by ordering the FDA to release the Pfizer files. They blocked Joe Biden's loan forgiveness, and they stopped the Texas can't ban 18 to 20-year-olds from carrying handguns. So this is a constitutionalist, a make America great Trump guy, real American judge. So he's probably going to drop the hammer on Media Matters. And yeah, they did it to themselves. Let's pull up. Oh yeah, I wanted to show this quick picture. This is David Brock. This is so Glenn Greenwald posted this. I think sometimes people forget that Media Matters was created, shaped, and governed for a long time by David Brock, arguably the single most craven, deceitful, and immoral scumbag DC politics has ever seen. And there's me. I recognized him, and I kind of trolled him with my McGovern for President 72. This is part of the Fear and Loathing on the Campaign Trail 72, Hunter S. Thompson. So that was interesting. So yes, I did get a picture with the dark demon himself.
Follow Blake on Twitter at TV's Blake Walley. You got to tag me on some of these things at American_media_ so we can retweet these. But yes, interesting, nice. Yeah, that guy's all sorts of bad.
Yeah, so that was one of my highlights there. We've got Trump's social media platform, as you said. Truth Social files massive defamation lawsuits against 20 fake news media outlets. So it's unprecedented in history, incorporating 20 publications and even more may be added. All of them publish the same false information about Truth Social and refuse to fully retract their stories. They're going to be held accountable. See you in court. I got The Guardian, Hollywood Reporter, McClatchy, Reuters, Rolling Stone, Nexstar, Deadline. Who else? Forbes, Axios, Daily Beast, Salon, New York Daily News, Newsweek, MSNBC, Mediaite, CNBC. So, I don't know, 73 million? I don't know exactly how that's all going to be fully played out. But, yeah, they've been getting away with this stuff for too long. And a lot of these stories are blowing up.
And Jocelyn adds the quote from George Orwell: "Everything faded into mist. The past was erased. The erasure was forgotten. The lie became truth." And that's what they're trying to do. That's what they're trying to do by shutting these things down. So screw them. Got to resist.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, yeah, we could probably tie that into maybe the biggest story over the weekend is that this narrative on January 6th. They're trying to convince the everybody in the planet that it was a staged insurrection when it wasn't, and then they held on to all of the evidence.
Well, it was staged. It was staged. They were trying to say Trump incited a riot. It's like there was no such thing. Peacefully, patriotically, go make your voices heard. They wanted the debate. While he was talking, the Ray Eppses were already working over there to do what they did that day. Yeah, and there was an unselect committee that did what they did, and then they destroyed the evidence because it was more damning to them than it was to Trump, and they tried to hide it. Man, we better be able to find all of this stuff they tried to delete. Please, Blake, tell me they're going to have access to all this stuff that allegedly got deleted.
Yeah, we shall see. Yeah, someone's got to keep a record of it somewhere. Otherwise, someone's going to be held accountable for destroying evidence. That is a massive felony.
And so when you look at pictures of Pelosi and Kinzinger and Cheney, man, do they look like deer in headlights. They look nervous as shit. every single picture, it's like they're holding their breath or trying not to crap their pants or something. Like they look super uncomfortable. They knew exactly what they were doing, which is why they didn't put a Republican on there. They put a couple of rhinos, a couple of fake turncoat globalists on there who hated Trump. They didn't put anybody. They didn't put any common sense people from the other side up. They put the ones.
Well, they wanted Jim Jordan up there, but then Pelosi's like, nope, he can't be there. We're going to put in Kinzinger and we're going to take Liz Cheney.
Like I said, no Republican representation. Like I said. All right.
No, they knew exactly what they were doing, and thank you for correcting. They did stage this attack and then call it an insurrection when it was not. It was just a peaceful protest, and they used agitators, which is a lot of confidential human sources, as they call it.
Blake froze.
Using spray. Oh, yes. Using spray or rubber bullets or flashbangs. It appears that they were, intentional agitation. And then, of course, you had the people like Ray Epps who were encouraging people to go into the Capitol where our problems were and start problems. So anyway, let's see. Do we have this rolled up? Here's one of the articles. Video series by Investigate J6 showing police and government agents spraying the J6 crowd, rubber bullets, explosive munitions, and sound grenades without warning. And yes, we've got Jane here in the chat here. She sent me this on Telegram, this video. I'll play a part of it. The early J6 footage. These are the kinds of things they don't want to show you in the investigation. Protesters shot with a bullet and through the.
You're on the wrong side of history! Hey, walk up to the front of the fucking line. Come here. Let's show these cops what they just did to you.
Bad look.
You gotta turn around. We need more fucking munitions. Let's go. Fucking shoot it. Go. Shoot. Shoot. We're up here trying to get through the gate. Yep, they're deploying flashbangs on us.
Whoa, yeah.
You okay? Come on. Hey, put it down, douchebag! Put it down,
Yeah, there's all the proof of them riling up the crowd. It was no reason for it. And they deliberate, and the committee, of course, isn't going to show this stuff. They're just going to they're going to cherry pick select things. And who knows how many of the people that they were showing were actually in federal informants to try to paint the narrative in a different way, try to convince the world that, yes, there was an insurrection. And then they put all these peaceful protesters in jail and in gulags, and they couldn't get the evidence of this. They deliberately withheld evidence. And, some of these guys, committed suicide. 4 protesters are dead now because they were, under duress by the Justice Department and afraid that they were going to spend the rest of their lives in jail. They had their lives absolutely ruined. And yes, and to sit there, it's sickening to watch, watching Kinzinger and Liz Cheney and Pelosi, and for them to just, misrepresent and paint this in a different way. So yeah, Matthew Perna, Jordan Meacham, Mark Ongst, and Christopher Georgia, all people that are now no longer with us. And that we've also got Ashley Babbitt and other people that died during this event.
What was the one? Roseanne Boylan?
Roseanne Boylan, yeah.
I mean, they were just shooting fish in a barrel.
Yeah, so it was not an insurrection. So now here's another one. We can kind of finally, hopefully, turn this around and set the narrative. This is one we've, obviously called for years. We were correct. And then Russian collusion. I mean, there's so many different things that we were right about from the beginning. But we were, banned, censored, punished. So pretty sickening. But yes, this is going to be a big one. And now it's going to be time for this is one of the questions here, Brian. I know we don't have a lot of time. So what was the other one? Let me pull this one up. Is it time to, it should be a new committee to investigate? Absolutely. So, I mean, right out of the gate, we've got Marjorie Taylor Greene say we need to form a new select committee. There needs to be investigations and accountability for all the lies, deceit, and the lives ruined.
Yes.
Absolutely. So there is that. What else do we have? Ryan, we're going to probably touch and go. I'm going to pull up another story here.
Do you want to go to the Trump will imprison and assassinate opponents if reelected? I don't know what you had in mind.
Yeah.
Agree or disagree that Trump will imprison and assassinate his opponents if reelected? Yeah,
you posted a story on Twitter. Let's see. You were saying time for the Secret Service to pay this Goldman fellow a visit. He was saying Trump needs to be eliminated. That might be slightly out of context, but yeah, they definitely want to eliminate him from the ballot. They want to eliminate him probably completely, throw him in jail for the rest of his life and get him to shut up. But it's not going to happen. So it is dangerous rhetoric. And then we have unhinged Morning Joe, who's trending on Twitter for this. Saying Trump that will imprison and assassinate political opponents if elected. So yeah, you're just saying, Kinzinger and these guys are freaking out. They look terrified, and Morning Joe looks terrified. Like
they have the blood on their hands. Like they're so wrapped up in this fraud. Like they are complicit. They are as complicit in the Nuremberg trials. Like, didn't they really say that like the complicity and the involvement, it stretches past just I was following orders. Like media people do get sucked up into this. Jen Psaki, Morning Joe, man, they are worried, and they should be.
Yeah, absolutely. They're pushing false stories on people. You got race hustler here, Al Sharpton, who's been an agitator for years. You got Micah Brzezinski here, the daughter of the one of the arch villains, Zbigniew Brzezinski, who is a globalist. And then she's also, thinks that she should be controlling all news and information. And then you got Morning Joe, Joe Scarborough, with that suspicious death of his intern in the office, wondering if he kind of made some kind of a deal. And now he's embedded with this witch. So, and now he's freaking out. Trump, what happens if he comes back and gets his revenge? We'll see.
You're going to look like idiots. Because he will get away with, he will imprison, he will execute whoever he's allowed to imprison, execute, drive from the country. Just
Joe is
look
worried.
at his past.
He's
look at his past of not executing people, and you'll know. Look at his past to see the thing that I'm making up. Yeah, treason actually is a high crime and misdemeanor, and it has a really stern penalty, Morning Joe. You should have thought about it before you decided who to climb in bed with. You picked the wrong side, Morning Joe. Whoa, look at Trump's past of not doing this thing that I'm now accusing him of, because I know that he knows what I did. Yeah, that's what they're doing. Jen Psaki, Morning Joe, they are terrified. Pelosi, Kinzinger, Cheney, they're petrified. Romney, they're terrified. They are like pulling their hair out, chomping their nails, going, oh my gosh, if we don't take Trump Force 1 down, if we don't take the plane down and get rid of him, he is going to destroy all of us. That's really what it came down to. But they're the ones that started this shit.
Yeah.
Trump was like, yeah, lock her up. And then he got in office. He's like, whatever. And they went, oh, whatever? Okay, well, then we'll lock you up. And it's like, oh, you have severely miscalculated and misplayed your hand, Democrats. Oh, you should not have taken the bait there. Big mistake. Big mistake.
Yeah, definitely. So justice could be coming for these guys. Maybe if they got nothing to hide, then we'll see. But yes, they went out of their way to smear Trump, all of his supporters, even though they didn't really retaliate, as you said. He didn't lock up Hillary in the first 4 years. They just ran a counteroffensive about Trump was Russian collusion, and they impeached him twice over BS. And now
the FISA warrants, the fake FISA warrants to violate his Fourth Amendment rights so that President Obama could spy on his campaign. Oh, they did everything that you're not supposed to do. They're the Jim Harbaugh of American politics.
All right.
Go Ohio State. All right. We're 2 minutes past your timeline. Do we have any more time?
Maybe like 8 minutes. I've got to really buzz through some of these things that I wanted to get into. But yes, this is also interesting from Glenn Greenwald, and with in light of there's another narrative that's been switching, how corporate media is functioning, and they're backing up on the Ukraine thing. Morning Joe admits the war in Ukraine is unwinnable, and it's time to make a deal. Positions they once denounced as appeasement and Putin talking points. It's amazing how they can flip the script on a dime without any shame, acknowledgement, or remorse. Yeah,
we were saying this tens of thousands of dead humans ago, begging for this. Tens of thousands of unnecessarily murdered humans ago.
Yep.
But they fought us tooth and nail as they money laundered through Ukraine. They thought that was more important than tens of thousands of innocent people getting wrapped up in this mess.
Yep. And now, yes, we're gonna have another war on the horizons as we get out of Ukraine. Now we've got one pending here in the Middle East. I'll buzz through a few stories, and then
all right, it's time for we need a new segment called Blake's 2 minutes hate.
Dun, dun, dun. Oh, Brian's got to switch this. Brian loves to run out the clock so he doesn't have to do mental gymnastics trying to defend Israeli genocide. All right. So let's take a look. There's actually some good news here. Israel voting on a hostage deal with Hamas, 40 children and 13 moms to be freed over a 4-day truce. But the right-wing parties are opposed. Not a real big shocker. They love to keep up the war as much as they can. And I don't think they want to stop for an investigation because they might not... might come to a different conclusion when we see the other side of it and what's happening. This could be a massive false flag that's going on, and we've already seen this, what happened with the war on terror the first time 20 years ago and getting involved into Iraq, which never had weapons of mass destruction, or all the stuff in Afghanistan, that occupation, how much money that cost. Let's see. How about... Well, I won't get into too much of this because I don't have enough time, but there is different, variations on what is actually happening in Israel and the two-party state that they have. You've also got a lot of disturbing things out of Israel. They have Israeli children singing they will annihilate everyone in Gaza. I won't play that, but it's just like they're teaching kids from an early age to just hate their neighbors. It's not good on either side. That's not saying that there's not bad things that happen to Israel as well. But then you've also got sociopathic Netanyahu insisting Israel doesn't kill children after launching attacks that murdered over 4,000 and counting. We've got the IDF raid of the Al-Shifa hospital in Gaza produced nearly zero real evidence of claimed Hamas headquarters. So that was, we looked at these videos briefly last week. Seems like some of this stuff was staged to make it look like there was a big headquarters from Hamas, but that didn't really turn out to be true. You even got the BBC saying that this is one of the questions of the day. Did Israel tamper with evidence and edit their unedited video and failed to prove claims? This was even on the BBC.
Yes, Blake froze.
Really?
Where is he at?
It's not.
There, he's
funny.
back. Okay.
Hamas tunnel system underneath the hospital. But having been inside Al-Shifa since early Wednesday, Israel's yet to produce evidence of the tunnels. It has allowed the BBC and Fox News to film at the hospital, though only locations of Israel's choice.
This is what they found.
Israel also released its own 7-minute video, which BBC Verify
I
has
think we watched
analysed.
this on.
A watch, visible in that video, suggests it was filmed a few hours before the BBC arrived. And this IDF video was posted, then deleted, then reposted, this time without a section referring to an Israeli soldier who'd been held hostage.
I don't know when this was used the last time.
Also in the video, we see a room with an MRI machine.
And if you zoom in and we get some light over here, what you'll be able to see is military equipment.
Yeah.
The BBC was shown the same room.
And what so it seems like that might be staged, but you know what? I could be wrong in all fairness. And I know I've been pushing like, oh, they were saying stuff about the 40 beheaded babies and there's, Hamas headquarters. And I might be wrong. So I do want to show this picture that is showing the 40 beheaded Jewish babies at the Hamas headquarters. There they are. So let's switch that. And as this person is saying, he wants to deeply apologize to Israeli and American Jewish communities for doubting the Zionist media. That they, yes, Israel does no wrong. There was obviously a Hamas headquarters, and there's the proof that we've all been waiting for, the smoking gun, all of the beheaded babies that they were talking about. Okay, and what else do we have? Israel losing as non-Western nations turned sharply against its war, but MSM's covering it up. And there's one of the problems is that around the world, like we showed that BBC video, they are not looked at in the same light that we do here in America. That's our supposed greatest ally here, but across the world, people don't have the same view or don't trust Israel the way we do. That's not being anti-Semitic. That's being very skeptical of the Zionists. We got Russia condemning Israel's genocide in Gaza. Innocent people are being killed indiscriminately. And notice there's a difference between those two wars. Russia, Vladimir Putin has been very, very careful about minimizing civilian casualties in Ukraine, even though he took a lot of criticism, but not so much in Gaza, which is absolutely being, as he says, bombed indiscriminately, with thousands of people dead now. Whether they can respond to the attack, absolutely. That's a major issue. But I thought this was also a good article here from Mike Adams. I'll finish off before I got to run. From all rivers to all seas, all human beings deserve to be free. I think that's a nice way. We want to just we want peace in the Middle East, freedom everywhere, and maybe yes, we can find a way to get along with all of our neighbors, no matter what. That would be the ideal outcome if that is achievable. So we shall see. I'd like to see the ceasefire. I'd like to see a full investigation into the events of that awful October 7th attack. Find out exactly, get to the bottom of that, find the hostages, and find a solution there once and for all, if that's possible. But I think that's all I have on that for today.
Right. And I will show a counterpoint to that. That's
fine. The
other side doesn't seem to ever want peace. They don't want a two-state solution. They want constant warfare, and then Israel always gets blamed for it. But I will share that side as well. And Blake gets his 2 minutes to get into it and give his perspective as well. Yes. So I guess we just had two other topics that I could deal with Blake leaving right now. Any final words? Tell people where to find you, sir.
Yes, TV's Blake Walley on Twitter. And, of course, the archive will always be on the nextlevelnews.com. So you can catch the replay or what have you. Everybody have a happy Thanksgiving. I don't think we're going to be doing the show or Thursday or Friday.
Yeah, what's your plan on Thursday? Is it possible we should do a show at the regular time, or
I don't think so. No, let's not do a show on Thursday. But no, it's Thanksgiving. I got food to make. There's football games on all day. People are going to be busy. They're not going to necessarily be here to hang out with us. It's a good time
we're internet family. We're internet
right.
family.
I know Brian will sit here do a 4-hour show with nobody here because everybody else is enjoying their Thanksgiving family vacation or their day. But yeah, it's a day to take the day off and eat and watch football. So probably no show, Brian. But if you have to have one, we'll talk. But we'll have to discuss that off air. I have to go, but it's been delightful. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day, and I look forward to doing the show next week. All right, take care, guys. I'm out.
Thank you, Blake. Make sure you follow him at TV's Blake Walley and thenextlevelnews.com. Yes, I want to get to something just. Blake and I, we go back and forth. He's very, you see his perspective on it, and I don't know the whole history. And I pulled this. This is a site that's more pro-Israeli, I suppose, if you will. It's PragerU. It's Dan Crenshaw, and Blake was like, "Oh, you mean Eye Patch McCain?" It's like, I don't know. Okay, I guess he's Eye Patch McCain, as he called him, but. Let me just buzz through this here. It's a couple, because Blake was like, "Oh yeah, we should have peace," and it's like, well, yeah, but what if the other side doesn't want peace, and you're stuck next to neighbors that will not allow you any peace? Let me see. How do I get to? There we go. All right, so this is from, as I said, Dan Crenshaw, as Blake calls him, Patch McCain. This is on PragerU. I just want to buzz through this and add a counterpoint here. So if Israel just allowed the Palestinians to have a state of their own, there would be peace in the Middle East, right? That's what you hear from UN ambassadors and European diplomats and most college professors. And maybe from Blake, and maybe from Mike Adams, and maybe from some of these other outlets, maybe. But what if we told you that Israel has already offered the Palestinians a state of their own, not just once, but on 5 separate occasions? Don't believe it? Let's review the record. Because, look, I wasn't around in the 30s. Let's just kind of review, and if some of this needs to be corrected or if some of this is fake news, let's talk about it. He continues, after the breakup of the Ottoman Empire following World War I, Britain took control of most of the Middle East, including the area that constitutes modern Israel. 17 years later, in 1936, the Arabs rebelled against the British and against their Jewish neighbors. The British formed a task force, the Peel Commission, to study the cause of the rebellion. The commission concluded that the reason for the violence was that two peoples, Jews and Arabs, wanted to govern the same land. The answer, the Peel Commission concluded, would be to create 2 independent states, one for the Jews and one for the Arabs, a 2-state solution. The suggested split was heavily in favor of the Arabs. The British offered them 80% of the disputed territory, the Jews the remaining 20%. Yet, despite the tiny size of their proposed state, the Jews voted to accept this offer. But the Arabs rejected it and resumed their violent rebellion. This is rejection number 1. 10 years later, in 1947, the British asked the United Nations to find a new solution to the continuing tensions. Like the Peel Commission, the UN decided that the best way to resolve the conflict was to divide the land. On November 7, 1947, the UN voted to create 2 states. Again, the Jews accepted the offer, and again, the Arabs rejected it. Only this time, they did so by launching an all-out war. This is rejection number 2. Jordan, Egypt, Iraq, Lebanon, and Syria joined in the conflict, but they failed. Israel won the war and got on with the business of building a new nation. Most of the land set aside by the United Nations for an Arab state, the West Bank and East Jerusalem, became occupied territory. Occupied not by Israel, but by Jordan. 20 years later, in 1967, the Arabs, led this time by Egypt and joined by Syria and Jordan, once again sought to destroy the Jewish state. The 1967 conflict, known as the 6-Day War, ended in a stunning victory for Israel. Jerusalem and the West Bank, as well as the area known as the Gaza Strip, fell into Israel's hands. The government split over what to do with this new territory. Half wanted to return the West Bank to Jordan and Gaza, to Egypt, in exchange for peace. The other half wanted to give it to the region's Arabs, who had begun referring to themselves as the Palestinians at this time, in the hope that they would ultimately build their own state there. Neither initiative got very far. A few months later, the Arab League met in Sudan and issued its famous 3 no's. No peace with Israel, no recognition of Israel, no negotiations with Israel. Again, a two-state solution was dismissed by the Arabs, making this rejection number 3. In 2000, Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak met with Camp David and Palestinian Liberation Organization Chairman Yasser Arafat to conclude a new two-state plan. Barak offered Arafat a Palestinian state in all of Gaza and 94% of the West Bank with East Jerusalem as its capital. But the Palestinian leader rejected the offer. In the words of U.S. President Bill Clinton, Arafat was, quote, here 14 days and said no to everything, end quote. Instead, the Palestinians launched a bloody wave of suicide bombings that killed over 1,000 Israelis and maimed thousands more on buses, in wedding halls, in pizza parlors. This is rejection number 4. In 2008, Israel tried again. Prime Minister Ehud Olmert went even further than Ehud Barak had, expanding the peace offer to include additional land to sweeten the deal. Like his predecessor, the new Palestinian leader, Mahmoud Abbas, turned the deal down. This is rejection number 5. So when Blake's calling for peace, you have to have another side that wants peace. Once again, why did this flare up a month ago? One side attacked the other. Which side attacked? If we can remember, it was Hamas that attacked. In between these last two Israeli offers, Israel unilaterally left Gaza, giving the Palestinians complete control there. Instead of developing this territory for the good of its citizens, the Palestinians turned Gaza into a terrorist base from which they have fired thousands of rockets into Israel. Each time Israel has agreed to a Palestinian state, the Palestinians have rejected the offer violently. So if you're interested in peace in the Middle East, maybe the answer is not to pressure Israel to make yet another offer of a state to the Palestinians. Maybe the answer is to pressure the Palestinians to finally accept the existence of a Jewish state. So there's the counterpoint to the seemingly nonstop criticism and critiques from Blake and others of Israel. So let's see here. Money, money, money. It's a rich man's world. Yeah, Annabelle Betancourt, I agree. Thank you so much. You know, when Blake gets to his 2 minutes hate, when he covers the Israel getting attacked situation and really defending Gaza, and we got to stop bombing. They have to stop their counteroffensive. It really is the kid that punches someone else on the recess, out at recess. And then when the kid goes to retaliate, he runs behind the teacher and teacher, make him stop. It's like, well, what caused all this? Well, why you do So there's a difference between being bloodthirsty and there's a difference between ending the threat. And I think these people have, as I showed over the past, since the 30s, kind of getting really tired of getting attacked by the other side. But Annabelle Betancourt in the comments saying, I don't trust the BBC. No, I don't either. I met with BBC a couple of occasions to pitch a show. It was tentatively called All American Conspiracy. But then they decided to kind of go from lean in television to lean back television. You know, they kind of changed their focus on the content they were trying to create. And then one of the showrunners, one of the project managers, moved on to another location. So I was in development project conversations with BBC. But yeah, you can't trust them at all. Good point. I was going to say that, but I just, give Blake his time. I don't want to cut him off. Like, let him, who knows who's really right here? Who knows if anyone's right? Who knows if everybody's wrong? So, yes, Spanksgiving. Thank you. Blake will be celebrating Spanksgiving. Okay, I just wanted to share this real quick. A couple final stories. If there's any stories I haven't gotten to, type them in the comments so that I can address them before we wrap this one up. But I want to talk about New York Mayor Adams, that he's proving the need for border enforcement. I'm going to agree to that. And it's gotten interesting now. They have pawns like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Cardi B, and they're out there simping for the Democrats and simping for Joe Biden. But even Cardi B's had it. This comment here says, anytime Dems get any pushback, they make it seem like their constituents are civically uneducated. Cardi is 100% right. Eric Adams said himself that the Biden administration isn't sending enough federal funding for migrants, aka illegal aliens, so he'll make up the deficit through budget cuts. So Maya says, I'm very glad you're discussing these despicable budget cuts. However, those budget cuts are coming from Eric Adams, not POTUS. Well, here, let's let her talk for a minute. I know she's really irritating to listen to, but we'll give it a try. Oh, I got to double click the button, don't I? We'll get started here.
I'm an angry bitch. Y'all need to get in here because I'm about to go off right now. Right now.
She's about to go off.
Yeah, I'm about to go off right now.
All right, get to it, Cardi.
Come on in. Hold up.
All right, we're in. Thank you. Whoa, look at those nails. Whoosh.
Oh, yeah, outside because usually I'll be having like 30,000 people by now, but I have 24,000. I need y'all to spread the video. I need y'all to spread the video. And if something happens to me, it's because I'm speaking truth. So God.
And by the way, isn't that interesting that she knows that something could happen to her for going off of the plantation, the Democrat political plantation. You get in bed with these people, and when you're involved, you know what they do when you go off of their reservation, off of their plantation. They will hunt you down and they will try to ruin you. She knows, but I'm giving her credit. She's speaking up because somebody has to. I'm impressed that she's willing to go there.
God forbid something happens to me or my family or some shit, is because the niggas is after me because I'm speaking the truth.
All right, if we could please retire that damn word, by the way.
And here's the truth, right? In New York, there is a $120 million budget cut. There's a $120 million budget cut in New York that is going to affect school, public libraries, and the police department. Y'all know I don't give a fuck about the cops, but like it is what it is. There's gonna be an $120 million.
You don't need to add that. You should care about the cops. You should care about not having the purge on your streets and in your neighborhood, by the way.
Budget cut with schools, with the libraries, and the cops, and the police department, and a $5 million budget cut in sanitation. Of a budget cut in sanitation, bitch, we're gonna be drowning with rats.
You are drowning with rats because you voted in Mayor Adams. By the way, the Biden administration, it sure seems like they're going up against Eric Adams. They're trying to indict him now. They're investigating him to take him out because he's been too vocal about the Biden administration and destroying his budget by flooding his city with illegal aliens. If there was a border where you were not allowing millions of people to swarm in and just absolutely overrun the city, he wouldn't be out there saying what he's saying. And now Biden's turning his wrath upon Eric Adams. I love when the snake eats its own tail, but there's innocent people getting caught up in this stuff.
We're going to be drowning in fucking rats. So we are going to be having a budget cut on these shits. Mind you, and this is why I said this is what I'm telling y'all, I'm not this year. Don't fucking ask me. I don't give a fuck the resume that they send. I don't give a fuck. I'm not endorsing no fucking presidents no more. Because how is there a $100 million budget cut in New York City for fucking schools, library, police safety, and sanitation?
Yeah, you should not endorse Democrats ever again. How about you grow a set and endorse President Trump? President Trump didn't act that way. President Trump is from New York. President Trump cares about New York. He was out there right when those attacks happened 20 years ago. He was in the middle of all of it. He's been building that skyline and working in that city for a long time. He cares about that place, even though they've turned on him. Why don't you endorse him? You should say, instead of I'm not endorsing anybody again. I'm not endorsing a Democrat again. Dreamer Ultra puts out there, he says, the media has floated the idea of running the rock for some office, even president. Ugh, the idea is putrid on its face. Yeah, so I run a bunch of groups on Facebook. The Unhappy Hour Sports Show, the Agree to Disagree Show, TNAM for the New American Media, TNAM Food and Drink, TNAM Humor, TNAM Wrestling, TNAM Golf, all sorts of TNAM Hockey, all sorts of little groups. But yeah, I posted in there about, would you vote for The Rock as president? And one of the guys, he's in the sports group and he dislikes when it turns political. he's like, oh, come on, don't post this in the wrestling group. I'm like, he's the wrestler. He's like one of the most widely known successful wrestlers in the history of wrestling. He's clearly a Democrat Party hack. He's out there with Oprah trying to beg for money in Lahaina. Remember how cringy that was? They both came out and had to apologize for it. So he's out there begging for money in Lahaina. He's connected to all sorts of stuff. And he was shilling for the Democrat Party and Joe Biden. And so he was on with Joe Rogan last week, I believe, a few days ago. I think it was last week. You know, he was saying, I got friends that support Biden. And Rogan goes, no, you don't. Hold on. Nobody supports Biden. He goes, all right, hold on. Let me correct that. I have a lot of friends that support the Democrat Party. So like they are trying to drive a wedge between themselves and Joe Biden because he's such a train wreck. Did you see him flirting with a 6-year-old girl, by the way? Did you see that disgusting video? I love your earlobes. What are you, 17? Are you 17? Oh my God. What this guy represents everything that's wrong with everything, this Joe Biden. So Cardi's turn again. She got tricked into endorsing Biden. The Rock got tricked into endorsing Biden. They know it's a sinking ship. But yeah, they've definitely floated out there. Maybe The Rock, because it's not going to be Joe Biden running for 2024. Let's get real. In a week, what they're going to try to do is put Fox has totally lost the plot. They're trying to do a JV debate between Gavin Newsom, who has not announced his candidacy, and he's actually deferred to Kamala Harris as if she would do any better than Biden. They're both a disaster. Actually, so is Newsom, how he's ruined San Francisco and how he's ruined California. I know, I lived out there. But they're going to have a JV debate between Gavin Newsom and little Ron DeSantis. Hey, the debate that literally nobody is clamoring for, Fox is trying to push down your throat. They really think they can manipulate the people into turning on Trump. It's not going to happen. It will not happen. And shame on Fox for just completely losing the plot. Agreeing to pay that Dominion lawsuit. Are you kidding me? They self-sabotage their own company and then fire their number one person, Tucker Carlson. Fox is just gone. They've totally lost the script. But yes, I think the Democrats, they're figuring out, are we going to run Michelle Obama? Are we going to run Kamala Harris? Are we going to run Gavin Newsom? Are we going to run Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson? Are we going to run Hillary Clinton? Something in the next less than a year. They're out of time. It's not going to be Biden. So we'll see how it shakes out. But yeah, I mean, they're floating it. And by the way, don't think that LeBron James is not going to put his hat in the ring when he retires, if he ever retires. He's in year 21, putting up the same stats he was putting up 21 years ago. It's kind of incredible. As a Cleveland Cavalier fan, I follow that stuff closely. But yeah, LeBron is insufferable with his political takes, but he's definitely drank the Barack Obama Kool-Aid, and he's all in on the Democrat Party, pushing division, pushing race flare-ups and violence, trying to dox cops who saved girls' lives, and I believe it was Akron. It's just, these guys are really bad. The Rock and LeBron James. But anyway, back to Cardi B here.
Yeah, Joe Biden's talking about like, yeah, we could fund 2 wars. We could fund 2 wars. Motherfuckers talking about we don't got it, but we got it. Like, we're the greatest nation. No, the fuck we're not. We're going through some shit right now.
You know what? I will never consider somebody to be completely incorrigible. When somebody is right on a point, and I deal with this with Bill Maher all the time. He's not my favorite person. He's not the smartest. I don't know, not the brightest bulb in the bunch. You know, he's a sharp guy. He has blinders. He's got Trump derangement syndrome worse than almost anybody I know. But look, when someone says something right, you gotta identify it as being right, or else you're being intellectually dishonest. Cardi B's right. This clown is trying to fund 2 wars, and we don't have anything under control at home. Get out of here with that Janet Yellen, Joe Biden crap.
Like, say it. We really going through. We really are fucked right now.
Pause for dramatic effect. Yeah, my English teacher, she would tell me, you can't say really 30 times. Use some adjectives. Find better descriptive words instead of just repeating yourself 30 times. But I take
$120 million. Like, where these kids are gonna. I'm lucky. I'm lucky. I'm blessed. I'm whatever the fuck. But like, what's gonna happen to my nieces? What's gonna happen to my nephews? What's gonna happen to my cousins, my aunts, my friends? They live in.
Gotta vote against this stuff.
That's living in the hood. Fuck the hood. Like my shit. Like I don't give a fuck if I live in Jersey, bitch. I'm from the Bronx. I don't want to see my shit affected. The Bronx, Brooklyn, it's gonna affect the whole New York.
This is NIMBYism at its best. These people in San Francisco, Los Angeles, Chicago, New York. Oh yeah, we're a sanctuary city. Yeah, everybody that breaks the law and sneaks in the back door, come on in. We don't care what your background is. We don't care if you're committing crimes. We don't care if you're abusing humans. We don't care if you're stealing things. We don't care if you're setting fires and whatever. We don't care. We're a sanctuary. You already broke the law getting in here. Yeah, I'm sure you're never going to break the law again. Come on in. But not to my neighborhood. NIMBY, not in my backyard. NIMBYism. But she's right. It's not just about this borough. It's not just about Jersey. It's not just about Brooklyn. It's not just about here. It's everywhere in New York.
120 million budget cut on schools, libraries, police department, and sanitation. Bitch, New York is already fucking super dirty. Super dirty. Like, yo, you know what's embarrassing? Like, it's like, you know, like I know people from California. I know people from Atlanta. So I always be like, yeah, New York is the greatest place in the world. Yeah, they be like, New York is dirty. And it is dirty. And we're going to get even dirtier with the fucking budget cut. And yeah, we talk about we could fund 2 wars. That's like a nigga trying to front like, yeah, I got the money to support 2 bitches, but you really don't.
Once again, if we could please just retire that word, it's so unhelpful.
Talk about y'all don't make negotiation with the odds. Well, y'all need to sit the fuck down. These people and find agreement. No, we cannot fund these fucking wars. We can't. Keep it a bean. We can't. Like y'all doing budget cuts on the biggest city in the United States. Somebody said, Cardi, look behind. Stop playing with me. This shit is getting out of hand. We're really going, they don't want to say the word, but we're going through a recession right now. We really, really, really fucking are.
Wow. Yeah, she is rejecting the lies that her Democrat handlers have told her to say. Yeah, you better watch out for her and her family. Pray for her. Pray for her, because she's having a bit of an awakening, like the people of Argentina did. You don't give an inch to terrible ideas and terrible people. You don't give an inch, because they will take. They ruin everything they touch. These ideologies are toxic. They're poison to anybody around them.
And Major Eric said it. There is a budget cut going on in New York. And little by little, it's going to go in your states. Okay? This is fucking crazy. And then, so, like, you know what? I told myself this week, like, yo, the internet right now is too dark, because celebrity drama, of course, we love it. We infuse with it. We watch it. But it's like, yo, that's little of what's really going on in the world right now. That's nothing compared to what's going on in the world right now. The world is in fucking shambles.
She's so close.
The pandemic, a lot of these countries, they want to do shit because everybody.
Yeah, then it wraps up there. So in between some of that, I think she had some salient points. And I think it's good anytime you can get somebody who reading the script from all the people with the bad ideas. When you can get them to see the light, it's a win. Yeah, Dreamer saying, I wonder what woke her up finally. Well, I think these budget cuts. And realizing that's her, yeah, Kenneth. Kenneth in the comments, Cardi be mad. That's a good one. Cardi be mad. Yeah, and I wonder what woke her up. Everybody has their epiphany. It arrives when it arrives. It comes when it comes. Incubus says it's coming around again. What a great album, that Make Yourself album. I want to start singing or reciting the lyrics, but I won't subject you to that. But yeah, check out the Incubus Make Yourself album from front to back. It's an incredible listen. Cardi be mad. That's a great line. Yeah, but we welcome her. I mean, she's so close. She's like, after the pandemic, everything it turned to crap. What's going on with this invasion? What's going on with the budget? What's going on is 3 years of Obama's third term through the puppet Joe Biden. Go back to Trump because he had a lot of things under control until the virus was unleashed from Wuhan, China at their level 3 bioweapons lab. Remember, that was another thing that we weren't allowed to talk about. Once again, something that's been proven right time and time again. Our track is astonishingly decent. Fantastic, really. Oh, she's so close. She doesn't say, she didn't need to say, I'm never endorsing a presidential candidate again. She needs to say, I'm never endorsing a Democrat again. Look at Argentina. They went hardcore libertarian, and look at their stocks are through the roof right now. People are excited for the first time in a while. New York, Chicago, San Francisco. I'm a blessed human being. Los Angeles. I'm a blessed human being. Just like Cardi said, I don't quite have the millions in the bank that she does, but I've lived a lot of years in my life. The years that I have, I put a lot of experience into them. And I've had a chance to go to Manhattan. I've had a chance to go to Chicago. I've had a chance to go to San Francisco and live in Los Angeles. And these are incredible places. They really are. They're incredible places that are rotting from the inside out with the tumor of, it's the lack of give a shit. And it's the intentional destruction. The money from George Soros to put in district attorneys that won't enforce vagrancy laws, that won't keep people from pitching tents on the street and turning tricks in the cars and getting into fights at the end of the road and piling up piles of trash and lighting things on fire. The whole 10 freeway was shut down for how long? Because a bunch of vagrants lit pallets of wood on fire underneath there. Take some pride in your community. And it's intentional when you put an apparatus in place where the police are told you're not allowed to police. You're not allowed to stop the shootings in Chicago. You're not allowed to clean up the human filth, the hypodermic needles and the human shit in San Francisco. The rats and the trash and the illegal aliens that are flooding your city in New York. A little bit of pride goes a long way. But first, you have to understand who is intentionally putting that divide between you and a beautiful, livable city. These cities that I mentioned, they're fantastic places, in theory. You couldn't pay me to spend time in these places again. It's just, you can just feel that. I went to, there was a park by where I used to live, Kenneth Hahn Park in Los Angeles. And I remember I went there one time with a friend, and we went up there late night after the park had closed, and they were actually filming a movie, and we went to the very top, parked and walked around a little bit. And there's this cool area. You kind of park and you walk over here, and then you go out. There's a loop around. And at the edge, there's this tree and a bench, and it's this awesome view of downtown. Awesome view. You can see Koreatown where I used to live, and you see the skyline. It's a neat place, neat park. And then on the other side of the walking trail, on a clear day, you can see Santa Monica. You can see the beach. Great place. But I remember I went up there one time, and we were walking nighttime. Never been up there at night before, because theoretically the park closes at night. And walking this path, I just kind of like, kind of had the hair stand up on my. I could feel that I was being looked at. I could feel like I was being targeted or noticed. And I looked over because there were walking paths off to the side in the brush and the undergrowth. and I could see there were all sorts of coyotes that were popping their heads up, and you could see their eyes gleaming in whatever residual light was over there. And they're just popping up, pop, 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 pop. And it was like, oh, if I'm not being hunted, I'm being watched. So we wrapped up our trip and got out of there. But when you're in these cities, when I was in San Francisco, man, I felt it. Ugh, man, did I feel it. Walked around in the park, had some time to go see the city, and man, the junkies. Just, you know, I'm pretty darn libertarian. Do your thing. Don't harm other people. But when the cities are just turned into piles of garbage, and you got, you know, when I'm walking in Los Angeles, I'm just trying to go 2 blocks over to the light rail station to hop on and, you know, wherever I was going. And you got crazy people walking past you, like jumping at you, lunging at you, and screaming in your face. It's just, you feel like there's a problem in the shadows of every corner of these cities. Chicago, how could you feel comfortable anytime in Chicago? They will not stop shooting each other there. New York, like I said, they're going after Governor Eric Adams, because he was calling out Biden for blowing up his budget and ruining his city. Oh, they did not like that. Now he's under investigation. That's how it goes. You know, you lay down with dogs, you're going to get fleas. Cardi B noticed it. Dwayne Johnson had to walk back from, I have Biden supporter friends. No, you don't. You got people that drink the Democrat Kool-Aid. You don't have Biden supporter friends. They're all walking back. You're close. Walk to the guy that had a lot of the important stuff under control. Involved in no additional new foreign wars. Multiple peace deals were negotiated and completed, including the Abraham Accords, to calm things down, to stay out of conflict. We had low energy cost. Yeah, he spent too much. So that, I mean, far from a perfect presidential candidate. But man, he was getting a lot of the big things right. And right now, it's hard to point. Can you point to a single area where the world is better? Because Barack Obama's third term, Joe Biden, has been allowed to proceed, despite everything that we're learning with the voting machines in Georgia, despite everything that we're seeing with the J6 committee, the fact that was staged to prevent. I was reading the other day, it was either 2 or 3 hours. Every single state that had an objection, that had a grievance, they would have had 2 or 3 hours, I believe, on the congressional floor to speak their piece, to lay out their case and make the point that we cannot trust the numbers that were brought back to us. We have to go back and do a better audit, or we got to do it over. That was all scrapped because of the chaos. The stuff that President Trump asked, look at Kash Patel, look at all the reports. Multiple occasions, he requested the National Guard. He wanted, what did they say, 30,000 additional troops there throughout the city to defend the Capitol and just to be around. I forget check the exact number. That was Muriel Bowser, the governor of D.C. That was Nancy Pelosi and the head of security at the Capitol building. They all declined it. They were the ones that wanted what happened to happen. Those are the ones in the unselect committee that were framing Trump so that they didn't even have to have the debate on the 6 or 7 states that magically paused their election count. They magically paused on voting night when Trump was ahead hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of votes. I was drinking bourbon, getting ready to celebrate, and they held that back. Go to CISA.gov/rumor control so you can hear countervailing views about elections, because we all know what we saw. We all lived through it. So Cardi B's getting close. She's getting close. If she could understand that Trump isn't the bad guy that she's been told he is, she could make a huge difference with the endorsement. And by the way, I read that President Trump is getting ready to push for a severe and let's just say very overdue realignment of the Republican Party processes. If they don't stop their charade with these debates, we're on going to have a 4th debate. They're going to have a 4th or 5th debate. Fox is trying to wedge in that extra one. It's like he's up 40 to 70, 80 points in these polls. There is no race. Why are you not circling the wagons and fighting the Biden administration and getting ready for this election instead of trying to push Trump out and foist up Nikki Haley, who people don't want, or little Ronnie D, who's really shown his lack of political aptitude, ignoring the people of Florida where he was elected, totally blown his chance with MAGA and the people in 2028. He had a crystal clear path in 2028, but man, I don't know who sold him what, who convinced him that he could take out Trump. But I don't know what he's doing, not conceding and not backing him. But come on, Larry Elder's withdrawn and backed him. Other people are withdrawn and backing him. It's time. We're less than a year away. A year from now, we'll know who the president-elect is. So let's pray for common sense. Let's pray for peace. Let's pray for protection. Oh, that's good. Yeah, thank you, Kenneth. Kenneth says, preach. He gives me another one. Cardi B on the cusp. Yeah, Cardi B on the cusp. She be on the cusp. She's right there. She's so close. I will never endorse a Democrat again. You can just add that extra word. You can't endorse President Trump. He cares about New York. I promise you he cares about New York. Even though those idiots, Letitia James and Judge Erdogan and just these clowns are trying to go after him on a victimless crime. She's like, oh, yeah, elect me. I will ruin Trump. It's like, how has this not been thrown out already? How is there not a fast track to the Supreme Court? It's 2023. How do you not have a fast track to the Supreme Court that can instantly look at stuff like this and go, stop. Push this any further, and we will indict you. You're clearly violating, put the laundry list together. Anyway. All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for today's program. Special thanks to Blake Walley. Follow him on Twitter at TV's Blake Walley and thenextlevelnews.com. My name is Brian Engelman. This is the Agree to Disagree show. We want to have different conversations. We want to hear what you have to say. Spotify, sign up for our podcast. It's the Agree to Disagree show. Rumble.com. I don't know. Just search the Agree to Disagree show. Or no, search the New American Media on Rumble. Kenneth says, AOC. Yes, AOC. Someone asked if AOC is Venezuela, or no, if she's Argentinian. Argentinian. How do you say that? Argentinian, I think. That's a tough word. I need to say that a little bit more. I have no muscle memory for saying Argentinian. There we go. I think that's it. Argentinian. I don't know what she is, but AOC as well. Happy Thanksgiving. I don't know. I mean, depending on what's going on Thursday, maybe I will come on live. I don't know. Maybe I will do a show with or without Blake. So on Telegram, we are at TNAM, TNAM, and TNAM Chat, TNAM space CHAT. On Truth Social, find us. We are the New American Media. On X, we are at American_media_. Instagram. Yeah, follow us on Instagram. The New American Media. Facebook. The Agree to Disagree show. I think I'm going to anyway, I'll tell you about that after it happens. But yeah, follow us in all the places. We appreciate you. We love you. And we'll talk to you again soon. Take care. Peace.